One of the most striking features of Drayton Hall is how its design balances elegance with practicality. The Great Hall serves as the heart of the home, creating a grand central space from which the surrounding rooms are carefully organized. This symmetrical layout reflects the influence of Palladian architecture, a style inspired by the work of the Italian architect Andrea Palladio, where balance, proportion, and classical beauty were considered essential. Rather than relying on excessive ornamentation, the mansion impresses through its perfect geometry, soaring ceilings, and carefully planned circulation between rooms. As we move through the interior, notice the impressive stair hall, finely crafted woodwork, and elaborate plaster details that have survived for more than 2.5 centuries. Unlike many historic plantation homes, Drayton Hall escaped major modernization during the 19th and 20th centuries. Because electricity, indoor plumbing, and central heating were never permanently installed, the house remains remarkably close to its original 18th century appearance, giving historians and visitors a rare glimpse into colonial life. The exterior is equally fascinating. Raised above the ground on a high brick basement, the mansion was designed to improve airflow beneath the structure while protecting it from seasonal flooding and humidity. Large windows line both floors, allowing natural light and cooling breezes to pass through the home during South Carolina's long, hot summers. The double portico, with its classical columns and carefully proportioned facade, immediately communicates the wealth and ambitions of the Drayton family, while remaining firmly rooted in European architectural traditions. Of course, not every Southern colonial home was built on such a grand scale. Across Virginia, Maryland, and the Carolinas, countless farmers and merchants constructed simpler versions using locally available materials such as timber, brick, and cypress. Many feature broad front porches, steep hipped or gable roofs, and wide central hallways that encouraged cross-ventilation. These practical adaptations made life considerably more comfortable in the humid southern climate, while preserving many of the symmetrical design principles introduced from England. As the colonies grew wealthier throughout the 18th century, architectural tastes evolved once again. Influenced by the reigns of Britain's King George I through King George III, Georgian architecture became the dominant style from New England to Georgia. Homes became larger, more refined, and increasingly formal. Perfect symmetry defined every elevation, with evenly spaced windows, decorative crown moldings, paneled front doors, and elegant entryways often framed by classical columns or pilasters. Whether standing in the snowy villages of Massachusetts, the Dutch settlements of the Hudson Valley, or the prosperous plantations of the South, these homes reveal a common story. Every region borrowed familiar building traditions from Europe, then adapted them to local climates, materials, and lifestyles. The result was not a single colonial style, but a rich collection of architectural forms that together laid the foundation for American residential design. And we're only getting started. In the next section, we'll explore how Georgian architecture reached its peak, examine some of the finest surviving examples across the colonies, and discover how these timeless designs continue to influence American homes more than 250 years later. The keystone above the front entrance immediately hints at the European influence that shaped the building, while the thick limestone walls reveal centuries of adaptation to the demanding climate of South Texas. Completed in the 18th century, the Spanish governor's palace is one of the finest surviving examples of Spanish colonial civic architecture in North America. Despite its impressive facade, the building was designed with practicality in mind. The central courtyard became the heart of daily life, providing light, ventilation, and a secure outdoor living space protected from the intense summer heat. Passing through the carved doorway, we enter a series of rooms arranged around the courtyard, rather than along a central hallway. This layout, inherited from Spanish and Moorish traditions, allowed air to circulate naturally throughout the residence while separating public reception rooms from the family's more private quarters. Massive wooden ceiling beams, whitewashed walls, handcrafted iron hardware, and deeply recessed windows all contribute to an atmosphere that feels both elegant and remarkably functional. Perhaps the greatest strength of Spanish colonial architecture is its willingness to embrace local traditions rather than simply replicate European buildings. Across the Southwest, Spanish settlers adopted adobe construction techniques that indigenous communities had refined over centuries. Thick earthen walls absorbed the heat of the day before slowly releasing it during the cool desert nights, creating interiors that remained comfortable throughout changing temperatures. Flat roofs, enclosed courtyards, shaded arcades, and minimal exterior openings all worked together as passive climate control long before modern technology existed. Travel west into present-day California, and the Spanish colonial story continues through a remarkable chain of missions established during the late 18th century. Although built primarily as religious centers, these mission complexes introduced architectural ideas that would influence countless homes throughout the region. White stucco walls, red clay roof tiles, graceful arcades, wooden balconies, and bell towers became defining features that are still echoed in houses across the American Southwest today. What becomes increasingly clear as we travel from colony to colony is that no single colonial style can represent early America. Instead, each region tells its own story. New England favored compact homes capable of surviving harsh winters. Dutch settlers created broad, practical farmhouses with distinctive gambrel roofs. Southern planters embraced Palladian symmetry while adapting their homes for ventilation. Pennsylvania blended English refinement with German craftsmanship and Swedish innovation. French settlers perfected elevated homes with surrounding galleries, while Spanish builders combined Mediterranean traditions with indigenous knowledge to master the climates of Florida, Texas, and the Southwest. Together, these traditions formed the architectural vocabulary from which later American styles would emerge. As prosperity increased after the Revolutionary War, builders no longer looked solely to Europe for inspiration. Instead, they began combining familiar colonial forms with a growing sense of national identity. The result was an entirely new chapter in American architecture. The Federal style, which gained popularity in the decades following independence, retained the symmetry of Georgian design but introduced lighter proportions, delicate ornamentation, and refined classical details inspired by archaeological discoveries in ancient Rome and Greece. Fanlights above entry doors, graceful elliptical staircases, slender columns, and elegant plasterwork reflected the optimism of a young nation eager to distinguish itself from its colonial past, while still celebrating classical ideals. Soon afterward came the Greek Revival movement, whose monumental columns and temple-like facades became symbolic of democracy itself. Across rapidly expanding towns and cities, banks, courthouses, churches, and private homes borrowed directly from ancient Greek architecture, reinforcing the connection Americans wished to draw between their new republic and the birthplace of democratic government. Yet even as these newer styles flourished, the earlier colonial homes remained remarkably resilient. Farmhouses continued to be expanded rather than replaced. Log cabins accompanied pioneers moving ever farther west. Spanish adobe homes remained perfectly suited to desert environments, while French Creole cottages continued serving families along the Gulf Coast. Architecture proved that practical solutions often outlast changing fashions. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Americans developed a renewed appreciation for their architectural heritage. The colonial revival movement swept across the country, reinterpreting familiar elements such as symmetrical facades, multi-pane windows, decorative shutters, central chimneys, and columned entrances for a modern age. Although these homes were equipped with contemporary conveniences, they intentionally echoed the character and craftsmanship of their colonial predecessors. Today, the influence of these early builders surrounds us almost everywhere. Whether it is a modest Cape Cod cottage, a Dutch gambrel roof, a Georgian brick townhouse, a Southern plantation-inspired porch, a French gallery, or a Spanish courtyard home, each traces its lineage back to the remarkable ingenuity of settlers adapting to unfamiliar landscapes centuries ago. Perhaps that is what makes American colonial architecture so endlessly fascinating. It is not simply a collection of beautiful buildings, but a visual history of migration, adaptation, and cultural exchange. Every beam was cut by hand. Every brick was laid with purpose. Every decorative carving reflects traditions carried across oceans and reshaped by entirely new environments. These homes remind us that architecture is more than shelter. It is a record of the people who built it, the challenges they faced, and the legacy they left behind. From the snowy villages of New England to the subtropical streets of St. Augustine, from the plantations of the Carolinas to the adobe compounds of the Southwest, the colonial era produced an extraordinary range of architectural traditions whose influence still defines the American landscape today. And that enduring legacy is what makes exploring these remarkable homes Such an unforgettable journey through history. The palace entrance, adorned with the double-headed eagle from the coat of arms of Spanish King Ferdinand VI, proudly dates the building to around 1749. The palace stands as a remarkable example of 18th-century Spanish colonial architecture. Its U-shaped stone structure, built from brick and finished with stucco, surrounds a traditional Spanish courtyard that creates a peaceful retreat from the busy world beyond its walls. As we step inside, imagine strolling along tiled walkways through lush gardens framed by graceful arcades. At the center of the courtyard sits a well, once the primary source of fresh water for the governor's household. Every corner of this space was designed to balance beauty with practicality, creating an environment where daily life unfolded in harmony with nature. The transition between indoors and outdoors feels almost seamless. A shaded patio beneath a wooden pergola offers relief from the Texas sun, while terracotta tile floors continue inside beneath exposed wooden ceiling beams. These natural materials kept interiors cool while adding warmth and character to every room. The dining hall was designed for entertaining on a grand scale. Long tables welcomed distinguished guests who gathered around the glow of a crackling fireplace for elaborate meals and lively conversation. Nearby, the governor's staff worked tirelessly in the kitchen, preparing every dish entirely by hand. The massive wood-burning oven and traditional cooktop provide a vivid glimpse into the demanding routines of colonial cooking. Beyond the public rooms, the palace reveals spacious yet simply furnished interiors. Every object served a purpose, reflecting both practicality and refinement. It's easy to picture clerks bent over writing desks, servants carrying supplies through the halls, and officials conducting the daily affairs of the Spanish frontier. Because the palace formed part of the mission complex, education also played an important role. A dedicated classroom helped spread the language, religion, and traditions of the Spanish crown, reinforcing its influence throughout the region. The governor's bedroom was likely the most luxurious space in all of Spanish Texas. While other sleeping quarters remained comparatively modest, they still offered comforts rarely enjoyed by ordinary settlers living beyond the palace walls. Although we've explored the major branches of colonial architecture, countless regional variations emerged as European traditions blended with local climates, materials, and cultures throughout the New World. These adaptations produced distinctive homes that reflected both heritage and innovation. This video has focused on the purest and most recognizable forms of American colonial architecture. Before we conclude, it's worth mentioning the first period homes, which marked the earliest phase of English settlement in North America between roughly 1607 and 1700. Characterized by steeply pitched roofs, small casement windows, and massive central chimneys, these houses carried medieval English building traditions across the Atlantic. One outstanding example is the Fairbanks House in Dedham, Massachusetts. Built around 1637, it remains the oldest surviving timber frame house in North America and stands as an extraordinary reminder of early colonial craftsmanship. American colonial homes are as diverse as the people who built them. From the rugged simplicity of the New England Saltbox to the balanced elegance of Georgian mansions, and the shaded galleries of French colonial estates. Each style tells a story of adaptation, resilience, and cultural exchange. More than historic landmarks, these homes remain enduring symbols of America's architectural heritage, celebrated for their beauty, practicality, and timeless design. Which colonial style is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another fascinating episode of this house.